Hey, what's going on everyone? Sinful Duck here, and we are going to take a couple of minutes today to go through the talent tree here for patch 5.2. I want to talk about a couple of the changes and show you guys a little bit of the build that I'm going to use. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, first of all here, we have on the tier 1 up here, we've got Void Tendrils, which as you can see, I'm going with Void Tendrils. I used Void Tendrils during 5.1, even though most of you guys kept telling me not to do it. I love having that kind of ability to use against melee, because melee is really what gets to me. So, for my playstyle, Void Tendrils all the way. Now, most people use Psyfiend. Nothing wrong with Psyfiend, but they did change it for this patch. So that it won't fear the same target twice. So I haven't really played with it at all, I haven't tested that out, but I don't know. If you guys want to stick with that, feel free. But I'm sticking with Void Tendrils. Dominate Mind, that's your mind control for all you pre-mop guys. Mind control was amazing, especially in Arathi Basin and Eye of the Storm. So what they did for this patch is they decreased the cast time on Dominate Mind to about 1.5 seconds with your haste, so you can actually spec that if you go into one of those battlegrounds and jump people off the cliffs just like the old days for some good old-fashioned fun. But yeah, so for the first tier here, I'm sticking with Void Tendrils. Second tier, I'm still using Phantasm right now. Now, they changed Phantasm back to the way it used to be back in Cataclysm. So it removes movement impairing effects like roots, snares, those kinds of things, but it does not make you untargetable anymore. So slight change to that, kind of just putting it back to the way it used to be. So you can use that if you enjoy it, or you can use Body and Soul. Body and Soul is really nice, gives you a big speed boost, and yeah, so I mean, either one will work just fine, just depends on your style. So try them both out and see what you like. Okay, so this one is the big change for our class, this tier. From Darkness Comes Light was basically the only choice for this tier. Gave you the Mind Spike procs. Now you have that, and you have Insanity. Personally, at least for now, I'm sticking with Insanity. I've been doing it a lot in World PvP, in Battlegrounds, and even in one-on-one fights. It's not really that difficult to set it up. I know a lot of people in the comments on some of these videos, you guys have been talking about how, you know, it's really hard to just stand and cast that Mind Flay, and you know, people interrupt you or CC you. And I don't know, I mean, I found that if you plan for it and you know that you're going to do this, it's very easy to make sure that you get it off, whether you know, silence a spellcaster or tendril a warrior or whatever the case is. It's usually pretty easy to at least get off one good Mind Flay, and with Insanity, one good Mind Flay could be 100k, so 100k pretty easily, actually. And that's on top of all the damage that your dots and your Devouring Plague and everything else is doing, so that is great. Okay, so the next tier here, I'm actually using Angelic Bulwark again. I was using Desperate Prayer for quite a while during the last patch, but I've changed it back to Angelic Bulwark just so that I don't have to worry about it. I get that passive bubble. And as most of you guys know from all my previous videos, I love passives. Anything that helps me that I don't have to think about is amazing. So for right now, I'm using Angelic Bulwark. For a lot of arenas, I know a lot of priests, and I'm probably going to be one of them. A lot of priests go with Spectral Guise. It lets you... It's not so great for survivability, you know, trying to escape and get out of the way. It's not really great for that. It can be used for it, but its main use in arena actually is going to be right in the beginning, so that you can stealth up, run in, and get a fear. So if a team is hiding behind a pillar, run in there, fear them all out to start the match. It's great for that. So keep that in mind. And if you're going into arenas and you want that type of situation for yourself, go with Spectral Guise. If not, you're looking for survivability, Angelic Bulwark or Desperate Prayer, it's going to be great for you. Now, the level 75 tier here, you've got Divine Insight, which everybody used in 5.1. So it shouldn't be anything new to most of you, but what it does is it gives you your instant Mind Blast procs. You can still use that if you want to build up Shadow Orbs so that you can continuously use Insanity, so that's going to be great for you. What I've also seen a lot of people doing since the patch is using Power Infusion. Now, that means that you have to actually stand and cast all your Mind Blasts to get orbs, but what that does for you is that gives you the ability to pop Power Infusion along with your Trinket, your Pet, and then Insanity. So what they did to Power Infusion is not only does it increase your casting speed, so you're actually going to get a guaranteed third Mind Flay off with Insanity. So that's a lot of extra damage just from that. But they also gave us, here it is, the 5% damage buff with it. So not only are you getting an extra Mind Flay off with Insanity, but you're also going to get 5% extra damage on top of that. So Power Infusion, it takes a little bit longer to set up your burst, but when you do burst, it's going to be a lot. So keep that in mind. Try that one out. Play with it in some battlegrounds or some practice arenas or whatever you want to do, and see if that works for you. For me personally, it does a lot of damage, but it's so hard not to use Divine Insight. Getting those instant Mind Blast procs is, I don't know if I'm just too used to it or what, but it feels right. Just feels right. So I'm gonna stick with this for now. I might switch back and forth as the season goes, but we'll see, and I'll let you guys know if I post a video using one or the other. So yeah, so just give them both a try, see what you guys like best. Finally, we have the level 90 tier. Now, they did make a change here as well, and that change was to Halo. What most priests used to do is, especially in arena, they would go with Halo because you could walk into the middle of an arena, pop it, and it's so big that it covers almost the entire arena. So if there's any stealth, you're gonna pop them out. Well, now it no longer will hit enemies that are in stealth. So you can't pop anything like a rogue or druid or anything like that. You can't pop them out of stealth. So now all it is a giant ring that does mediocre damage for a ton of mana. So I have to recommend not using Halo anymore. Do not use Halo. That's my recommendation. If you want to, if you still like it, great. There's nothing wrong with it other than the fact that it costs a ton of mana. For me personally, Divine Star, you're going to get a lot more damage out of that, and especially a lot more healing. Divine Star will heal you for about 50k each time you use it, and it's only on a 15-second cooldown. It costs almost 0 mana, so I throw it constantly, and I'm always getting heals. You're doing some damage, and you can control where it goes, which is key. So that way you're not hitting anybody that's in CC that you shouldn't hit, like if you were using Cascade. In Cascade, you throw it at an enemy, it's gonna bounce, and it could hit an enemy that's in CC and break it. So for me, in PvP, Cascade is a no-no. I 99% of the time stick with Divine Star, and this season I think I will be sticking with Divine Star 100% of the time. So okay, so here in the Glyphs you can see I'm using Glyph of Dark Binding. That lets you cast Prayer Mending, Renew, and Leap of Faith while in Shadow form. That is an absolute must for all Shadow Priests. Not having to drop out of Shadow form to throw those basic heals it's key. So just use it. If you're not using it, just use it. You'll love it. The second one that is an absolute must for a Shadow Priest in PvP is this one here, the Glyph of Mass Dispel. It makes your Mass Dispel a half-second cast time, and you need it. You just need it. Popping Pally Bubbles, Ice Blocks, all that kind of stuff, you need it. The third one, you can kind of switch it around here. As you can see, I was just messing around testing Glyph of Renew, which is nice. What I would recommend, however, is this one here, which is what I'm pretty sure I'm going to be running most of the time. And what it does is Glyph of Inner Sanctum. Your spell damage taken is reduced by 6% while you're in Inner Fire. Now, I don't know about you guys, but most of the time, that's what I have up. As Shadow, I'm pretty much always in Inner Fire. So I'm going to be taking a 6% reduced spell damage all the time. Now, before some of you guys ask, because I know you will, why aren't you using Glyph of Fade instead? So on cooldown, you get 10% reduction to all damage. Well, the reason I'm not using that is because with Inner Fire, you do get a big armor bonus, which helps against melee damage. It's not amazing by any means, but it does help. What I get hit hardest by usually, especially right now in this patch, is casters. So reducing 6% of their damage all the time, I think is going to add up a lot more than getting 10% whenever you use Fade. But again, it's another passive thing that I don't have to think about, but it's always helping me. So keep that in mind when you're picking your last Glyph. But yeah, that'll pretty much wrap things up there. That's about all I have for this guide. But if you guys do have questions about Glyphs or talents, please leave them in the comments below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Give this a thumbs up if it helped. Subscribe for more Shadow Priest PvP. And until next time, guys, take it easy.